Welcome back to Cherry Hill Farm. I know I haven't been posting much lately, but that we really haven't had a whole lot going on that will be interesting to watch. But we did have something exciting happen yesterday. We had a new shipment coming in, and I'll spare you the unpacking. I already went through it when I did the inventory, but we're going to put together a new irrigation system for this season, and we're going to be able to water about 10 acres at a time. We've got a bunch of 4-inch and got all of our pieces and parts here, and we've got our 3-inch for our manifolds. Pretty excited about this. This is going to be a big deal because in the past we've been able to water about 2 acres at a time, and it's a lot of work for somebody to look after trying to water as much as we have, only watering 2 acres at a time. But we got some 4-inch lay flat, blue lay flat hose like you've seen me use in the past, 2-inch, and this is 4. We've got some 3-inch oval hose that's going to be our manifolds. We got about 20 acres worth of drip tape, and the thing I'm kind of most excited about is we have this brand new set of Armas disc filters, fresh off the boat from Turkey, I guess. I bought this stuff from Rainflow Irrigation in Pennsylvania, and the way that these work, these disc filters, and I'll have a video detailing more about it when I start putting it together, but basically the water comes in from the pump into this inlet, and it'll go through these 3 stacks of filters, and they're tightened down so I can't spread them apart, but there are tiny grooves through these discs, and so the water will flow. I'm not sure if it flows through this way or if it flows out through this way, but either way the water flows through these discs. They're shaped like a donut, so they're hollow in the middle, and the water flows through them and it traps the contaminants. When it builds up pressure, one of these valves will shut off and it reverses the water flow, and it will spray the purge water with all the contaminants out, shuts it back down, starts back up, and it is electronically controlled. It operates off of a car battery, so when it's sitting out in the field a mile from power source, it will still function. But pretty excited about that. I've bought a used pump, and I'm going to start putting this system together here real soon. But it's a little damp. We can't seem to catch a break from this monsoon. We seem to be catching every winter these days. But we've got 100 blueberry plants that we've bought, and we are trying to get them in the ground. I've had the beds. I listed the beds up probably a month ago, and it's just rained ever since. So we went yesterday and we got some mulch. We put pine bark in the beds to aid in the draining, because blueberries do not like wet feet at all. So we ran out a little bit shy, but we're gonna go over there and check on it. If it's dry enough, we're gonna get some more mulch and get these blueberries in the ground. In addition to that, I just want to show y'all that our store is done. I got all the exterior trim put up, and I've got the interior done. Our counter is built, got all the trim up, windows trimmed, the doors are trimmed out. I've got a little office space back here. Got our bathroom complete. This has kind of been a long drawn out process. Like when I had time, when it was raining, so it wasn't really something I could put together a video on. I guess I could, but it would have required a lot of editing of a lot of little pieces. But anyway, this is it. If you're around here close, we're going to be opening up this spring for strawberry season, and come out and see us. We're going to have this sucker packed full of produce this summer. So the idea of what we're doing here is, if you've ever bought a potted plant or vegetable transplants for your garden and you take it out of the pack and you see the little white pellets that look like styrofoam in the potting soil, that's called perlite. And the sole purpose of that is to help the water drain out of the potting soil so that it doesn't cause root rot or any problems with your transplants. Well, blueberries have a very shallow root system, and they do not like to have their roots very wet. So that's the reason you can see we've got this field bedded up, left quite a bit of space in between the rows, because depending on how we prune our blueberries, they can get pretty wide across the top. And I want to be able to, I don't want bare ground, so I want to be able to sow grass in between the rows and mow all this. So the purpose of putting this pine bark out and then running the tractor back through and incorporating it is that we get the pine bark worked down into the soil, and it works like the perlite does in potting soil. It helps the water drain out, loosens the soil up. We've got fairly loose, fairly sandy soil here, but we just want to make sure that we provide the best environment possible for these blueberries. And the second thing that this pine bark is going to do is, as it starts to decompose, it's going to lower the pH of the soil pretty dramatically, and that's what we want, because blueberries like for their pH to be down around a 5, and this field we always have a problem keeping the pH up, so we chose it for blueberries because it's already wanting to be low, so we're just going to let it go. And this pine bark will assist in speeding up that pH drop. But after we get all this put out, it's going to have to dry a few more days. It's still pretty wet. But after we get all this pine bark mulch put out, we're going to incorporate it, and we'll get our blueberries planted, and then we're going to come back through and mulch around them to keep the weeds from coming up. Sow the grass in between the rows, and we'll be done. Well, it's pretty cool today, but the only thing that's been consistent about our weather is the amount of rain that we've been getting. We're getting plenty of that. But anyway, I've got the better, which is a new piece of equipment to us. It's actually got fertilizer distributors on it that'll run off the PTO. We're not going to be using any of that. We're just going to use it to bed up the blueberries and incorporate that mulch that we spread yesterday. And then I'm going to hook to the plow and go get some plowing done so that we can start laying some plastic here in a couple of days before it starts raining again. So let's go bed up this blueberry land. Alright, well, we've had many rain delays. We've got all of our beds prepped. Mulch on them. Got the mulch worked in. And now we are getting ready to put some blueberries in the ground. What we've got here is, these are 2-year-old bushes. They've been cut off. Bare root plants. And from what I've read and the information that came from the nursery, they say just to fan the roots out and to bury them about 3 to 4 inches deep. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be spacing them 5 foot apart. Our rows don't really have to be quite as far apart as they are, but this is a long-term crop, so we can't just have bare ground, and I don't want to be push mowing it, so we're going to sow grass and be able to ride a mower in between the rows. So yeah, we're going to try to get these suckers planted. Yep, these suckers are so small that you can't hardly even see them down that row where we're planting them. But this is what they look like up close. They, the main thing is the development of the roots. This is being a 2-year-old plant. It's got a good root system on it, and you can see the stem of it is got a decent amount of girth to it. It's the size of a pencil, but it's been clipped off 4 inches above the ground to allow it to start branching out and to keep it low and keep it a bush instead of turning into a tall scraggly tree. But anyway, we got a couple more rows to plant here, and we are just about done with this project. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.